Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I do believe that I am live. And for once in my entire life, I have managed to start the stream without accidentally having my own audio tab open in the background. In fact, I probably should get used to actually turning off my desktop audio at the start of stream just so we don't get potential overlap. This isn't going to be too long of a stream, because a certain fluffy-tailed fox is live in exactly 2 hours, but I figured that given the kind of stuff that I've been seeing pop up in my feed recently... Oh, there's a beep. Good thing I muted the desktop. That it's worth just covering some of the interesting stuff that's going down in both the Twitter sphere and other stuff. What kind of DGen avatar are you having today? Just the usual one. You can, of course, thank Denna on Discord for it. She does very nice art. Ah, good grief. This is another thing that I find really annoying, is that every time I go and restart a stream on YouTube, it resets my chat filter, because by default the chat filter on YouTube is top chat, which has some messages such as potential spam may not be visible. So every time I have to manually change it to live chat, which is the one that I want, because otherwise about 1 out of every 10 messages or so that people send just doesn't appear in my chat window, and they are, as far as I can tell, completely random messages, like no bards, just a little Streisand effect. Okay, but can you talk louder? I mean, this is the microphone about as close to my face as possible, is it? Let me just adjust my levels a little bit. There. Now, my microphone is very solidly in the yellow when I regularly talk, so that's about my normal level, hopefully. Are all my audio filters properly working? Let me just check. Yes, they are. Good. Okay. And it seems that I should stop showering, all right? I need to be a stinky bird from now on, because it seems as if every time that I go and do something that is not directly connected to the internet, something terrible happens. Something absolutely dreadful happens. In this case, yesterday night, I was having a shower. And while I was having a shower, Prism Project died. Like Prism Project, Sony's VTuber company, it just died. And they released a statement on Twitter and everything, which I won't necessarily go over, because it's fairly boilerplate and straightforward. I am actually kind of glad, because when I first read the Prism Project statement, I was absolutely petrified, because I actually do watch a couple of Prism Project VTubers. Specifically, I really enjoy Sarah Nagare, or Sarah Nagare. I'm not sure how you pronounce it precisely, because, again, I'm an imperialist. You're as loud as always, but I'm unfortunately at a loud place, so it's not easy to hear from you. Okay. Lamau dummy gets blocked. Yeah, it does. It's really annoying. And again, let me emphasize, there is absolutely nothing I can do about YouTube's built-in censorship features. I have every single setting for moderation turned off. The only thing that I think that I have turned on is like link spam, so that bots can't randomly spam crypto links in my chat. That's it. That's all. That is the only moderation setting I have on my chat, and it still automatically filters some things. There's nothing I can do to turn it off. Google has made it physically impossible to completely turn off moderation in the live chat and comment sections. Pardon me. Yes, he does. I mean, this is a cute model, and again, I like colorful things. 1 second. Yeah, another reason I'm not streaming too much is because my throat is still not 100%. But as I was saying about the Prism girls, I watched Sarah, and I was very, very worried about Sarah, the very, very pleasant brown snake woman, just going away. But no, Prism has Sony. I did not expect this from Sony. I genuinely did not expect Sony to do this. But Sony has, although it is shutting down Prism Project, it's said to all of its VTubers, you can keep your IP, and they even explicitly say in their in their termination notice of the company that all of Prism's streamers will get their IP and will be fully in control of their own brand. Sony apparently keeps nothing, which is absolutely amazing for a company, especially a company like Sony. So I'm actually, while I'm not happy that a project has just completely shut down, I am very happy that all of the VTubers in it are able to completely retain their identities and all of that, which is really nice. A very unexpected win from a big corpo. From a big corpo collapse, because normally, as we've seen from things like V Reverie and also Niji Sanji, of course, when large companies, well, relatively large companies, if they collapse, oh blimey, it gets miserable. I forgot Prism was Sony related. Yeah, we were having a discussion about this on the Discord just last night, pointing out that the Prism girls have really been done bad because they basically had no advertising budget, really. They were all, to be perfectly blunt, they were indies by any other name. They had, I never really saw anything to do with Prism Project. Again, I ad block everything, so there's no way that I would see ads for Prism Girls to begin with, but nobody else ever talked about them. Like, they had their fan bases. Like, Sarah reliably pulls in, like, just over 3 view numbers on the regular. I guess they're keeping the Japanese agency V, though. I know absolutely nothing about V. Some people were talking about it, but I'm afraid I can't comment on it because I know nothing about V. I know nothing about V. Whenever I see V, all I think of is the Romanian V, who I find a somewhat irritating person. I'm sorry, he just has that voice. He just has a voice that is mathematically designed to irritate me. I'm sorry. No offense to him. I know that he is like in with several VTubers, and he seems to be very, very positive towards the VTuber medium as a whole, which I appreciate. But I'm sorry, there's just something about V that just irritates me on a fundamental level. Just a personal thing. Just a personal thing. So extra large invader group for FaZe. I mean, it would be nice if some of them got into FaZe, but they seem to be trucking along pretty decently as indies. I don't think any of them are going to, at least the ones that I watch who have any kind of activity, I don't think they're really going to see much difference from, sorry, why am I yawning? From losing Prism Project. Although it has created some quite interesting opportunities, I am definitely going to be sliding into a few DMs because I would like to know more about the Prism Project stuff. I would really like to be able to talk to a Prism girl or two, or as many as I can, to ask them, what was the company like? What was their experiences? They're probably under NDA, but, Prism seems to have been run lightly enough that I'm just curious about it. Because I think that Prism Project is a great example of how to run a banal company. And when I say banal, I mean, it's like I was saying earlier, they had no real industry presence as far as I could tell. They didn't really support their talents in any meaningful branding method. Proctor, stop trying to groom every VTuber who gets fired by their company. Look, I'm just a curious guy. I really do think that VTubing as a whole should be more open about its internal events and internal policies. And VTubing as a medium is rife with all of this silly kayfabe that is promoted also by fans. There are interesting posts on VT about the options the girls had. One of them was to join V after Prism folds. Aquatic Invertebrate, a VTuber project failing not due to incompetence but circumstance, while everyone is fine with everyone else, would be a nice change of pace for once. Yeah, I agree. I debated making it an event thread, but I think that it's just quiet. It's quiet enough that's all right. That it doesn't really need to. Doesn't really need to happen. I am very curious what the Prism girls would say about their management staff and everything. Kayfabe, yeah, that's how Kirsha pronounces it. And this is the annoying thing as well, that Kirsha was on the Side Scrollers podcast yesterday, and the guy kept calling her Kirsch, which is really silly. When I first started watching Kirsha, I think that I first watched her on a collab or something, and the person who was talking to her was calling her Kirshi, like with a hard E. And that's how I called her for quite some time. I called her Kirshi. And then later on, she kind of corrected me on that and say, no, it's Kirsha. And that makes more sense to me. But it seems to be, she unfortunately has a name that just everybody instinctively seems to mispronounce, because I was annoyed at myself. I thought it was just because I'm a filthy imperialist and I just don't pronounce words properly. Legal Mindset did it too. Yeah, I know. It seems like everybody makes that mistake. Everybody makes that mistake. So I'm no longer beating myself up quite so much about mispronouncing her name for like the first 6 months that I was watching her. Because at the very least, I did it in a unique way that not many other people do. I think FaZe will have a door open, but between JP1 and Euphoria, the Fishman isn't hurting. Yeah, I do agree. It seems that FaZe just seems to be trucking along very, very peacefully. And that's perfectly fine with me. And I'm amazed by it. Like, I don't think you understand that, Fishman, he's a weird guy. He is a strange guy. If you look into how he acts, how he thinks, etc. And again, I'm not saying bad, but he is a strange person. And I am absolutely shocked that he has not been embroiled in more controversy than he has. It's strange to me, because he has this ability. You would think that he would have done something at this point that would show a bad side or whatever, but no, that just hasn't happened. And I'm not saying there's some dark secret to Fishman or anything, but when you see things like his interviews with Pippa and so on, that is a very, very socially awkward Chinese-Canadian guy. Like, he very clearly does not have a good PR face, and yet he's completely managed to avoid making the kind of dramatic, idiotic decisions that a bunch of other CEOs have. So I do want to know what his secret is. It's really strange. He seems to have this one quality, which is hiring people that are better at doing things than he is, which is genuinely a skill in business that a lot of people don't have, that they massively fail at. Proctor talking about the love of his life. Have I mentioned recently how much I enjoy fluffy tails, guys? Like, I'm an equal opportunity fluffy tail enjoyer. Like, I like Smug Alana. I like, there's a Scottish VTuber that I've started watching. Fluffy tails, equal opportunities, okay? So long as the tail is fluffy, I am into it, in some degree or other. Probably his pasta recipe, ancient Chinese secret. Yeah. I mean, I hope that everything. Sorry, I just whacked my microphone. That was clever. I hope that everything to do with FaZe keeps on trucking decently and effectively. It just does surprise me, because by this point, like 2.5 years, 3 years, I expected something worse to come out. I mean, we have Riku that has made a fool of himself in public. There's the Akio Air guy who made a complete fool of himself. There's Sundaria's CEO. I don't think that people really like. Scottish Kitsune, what's her name? I actually have completely forgotten. She has been talked about in the Discord a couple of times. I'm terrible. I'm absolutely awful with names and everything. It's very irritating to me. I'm just terrible at that kind of thing. I won't distract because we don't have too much time, but I'll talk about her probably at another time. But yeah, she's cute, and she does lots of rigging too, which I think is nice. Another woman who absolutely refuses to take money for the very good work that she does, which I just don't understand. These are genuine life skills that are getting people fairly large amounts of money, but they're like, nah, I just want to do it as a hobby. And I can understand if you do something as a hobby. Guildmage Troy, the Fishman is strange as an executive because he simultaneously has authority but knows his place. I mean, yeah, I don't begrudge him his success by any means. All I'm saying is that it's odd to me that he has never managed to do the very stupid things that a bunch of other CEOs have done, when he seems kind of the socially ineffectual type who would do those things. So I'd guess that he knows when to let himself be managed, which is a good thing, is a very good thing. I don't want anything bad to happen to FaZe Connect, because it really does seem to be a place where sad girls go to as it's a home for sad girls, and that's a good thing. That is a genuinely good thing. And if anything was truly rotten in Face Connect, I don't think they could have had 3 whole generations or whatever by now and had literally just one graduation from it all. You know, you don't get a company that has bad things happen where you have that little internal dissent and that little public yabs, which is great, We need more things like that in the industry. I mean, even Idle has had worse fallout than Phase Connect. I mean, Face Connect, it's funny that Fishman seems to be the orange man of VTubing. He is the Donald Trump of VTubing. Somehow, you think that his mannerisms and his attitude would just cause him to mess up constantly, and yet every time somebody tries to raise anything against him, they just immediately fall to bits. Like, Idle tried to outcompete FaZe and had that stuff with Kata and then Riro come up, and now the whole Yuko Yuri thing, which I think has, like, massively impacted her numbers too. So it just seems like don't go against FaZe Connect or bad things will happen. The ancient Chinese curse will come down upon you and you will live in interesting times. Fishman surrounds himself with good and capable people, I assume. Yeah, I agree. You can have a boss that's weird just so long as he knows how to run a business. It's pretty much that simple. But there is one thing that I would like to get into regarding the Prism thing. I will also put it in chat. Give me just 1 second so I can post this. Because I try now and share the things that I keep up in chat. There we go, we're going to go to here. I believe Fishman had some really bad ideas, but because it's practically company policy for talents to push back against Fishman, the management of the Pipper and other girls with more experience, defo. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Which I think is fairly accurate. Anyway, let's switch over. Let's transition. Ooh. I hate myself for saying that. And what are you guys doing to me? Oh dear. Oops, nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Whoops, there we go. There we go. I accidentally hit the button twice. I'm doing that a lot recently. So this is the guy who actually founded Prism, because I did not realize that Prism was something that began independently and then was integrated into Sony. So to everyone who supported Prism, first off, a big thank you to all the Prism agents and to those associated with it. Although I have already stepped back from management as the founder, it's bittersweet to see the brand name no longer continue. However, I'm glad to hear that everyone can continue their activities. I would like to express my gratitude to everyone at Sony for their generous support. And of course, he has a long list of people who... I like how he talks about Sarah here. I had been hoping for a reliable older sister figure in Prism, so you were a welcome addition. And then he just goes, big. I mean, yeah, because she is. Brown woman love. Well, Prism's story, as we know it, may be concluding here. As its founder, I continue to be dedicated to spreading the allure of anime and VTubers worldwide. And he talks about his just experiences up here. I started preparing for Prism in late 2020. At that time, I had handed over the presidency of my first startup. So he's a bit like Fishman, actually. He's a guy who seems to have made it big in some other tech industry and then transitioned into VTubing. During my travels, I witnessed firsthand how Japanese anime and games were giving hope to people around the globe. Inspired by many individuals I met, I wanted to try my hand at creating entertainment, and that's how Prism began. When Prism was being prepared, there were only a handful of NVTuber agencies. This is another thing. I really hate this abbreviation, ENVTuber, because I always want to say NVTuber. It's very difficult for me not to say NVTuber, which sounds weird and it's almost derogatory in a way. It was truly an exciting experience to have laid a foundation capable of generating profit through 4 auditions in 2021. So he's saying here that they were profitable. Preparing for the first stream with the first generation in a shared office, setting up computers retains a fond memory. However, despite the growth, I often felt that our small company couldn't fully embrace new technology challenges or venture into music. That's when I had a chance encounter with the team pushing Sony's VTuber business. After several conversations, I felt that this team could do what we couldn't and shine a brighter light on Prism, and so I passed the baton to them. Although Prism has had to change its form due to various circumstances, I am deeply grateful to all the fans who have supported us thus far. And this guy seems to be pretty nice. I've seen nothing about this guy that suggests he is anything other than a pretty nice, dedicated individual. It's too close to V-tweeters. I kind of agree with you. The spare cash of making it big starts businesses. Who knew? Yeah, I know. Here we are. And he individually thanks pretty much every talent, even the ones that joined after him. It's Nana Asteria that I feel most sorry for, because she's actually a very, very talented artist. Does she say anything going live right now? She actually, yeah, that's interesting. I might watch that later. Because a lot of these talents have also spoken out. Like, I like her design as well. Her design, Nana Asteria's design, is very nice. It's a very sweet design. And she has a beautiful voice. A really, really nice voice. Wait, did she... Is this her... Is Brie the person who rigged her model or something? When she... Okay, that's interesting. I did not actually know that she had any association with Brie. Quite interesting. But yeah, Nana is definitely a very nice person who I think deserves a lot more than she got. It's a shame that she joined Prism specifically because she said that they could support her music career a bit better. Because again, she is a very, very talented singer. She has a very, very nice voice. And yes, as he says here, I often felt our small company couldn't fully embrace new challenges or venture into music. So yeah, she joined, and then, like, not too long later, it just kind of went out the window, which is a shame. Fishman had a lot of wrong ideas, but when he saw he got his company what got his company views and money, and adjusted accordingly. It almost killed his company when he tried to force his dream first, but well, as long as you only almost fail, you win. That's a pretty good point to quite a invertebrate. I do agree. But yeah, in summary, the Prism situation is kind of sad, but I also think that most of these people have been left with a much more solid standing than they began, and I really hope that they all continue on as independents and that they get the success that they really deserve, I think, because there's been no bad talents in Prism. There has just been a lack of advertisement and a lack of proper attention given to them, which is a shame, but, you know, it happens. It happens, tragically. Yeah, I'll just close these down. But now, we move on to the main thing that I wanted to discuss today, because core blimey is it hilarious to me. This is Sweet Baby Incorporated. Do I actually have their actual website? They do. Now, Sweet Baby Incorporated... Oh, somebody just sent me money. I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much, Anonymous, for that $15 tip. Thank you. The funny thing is, I haven't quite adapted to my own alert noises yet, so I thought for a second that one of my quail was actually loose in my room, so that really startled me for a second. Kind of makes sense if thinking about getting Sony involved can connect her to Sony Music Entertainment. Yeah, I agree. It's a shame that this doesn't seem to have worked. Seems like it could have been a good strat for her if the company worked out. Seems like a typical startup collapse. I mean, yeah, but I mean, Prism Project was a thing that was around for quite a long time. They had 7 generations, I think, and so they weren't just a fly-by-night. They lasted longer than Sundaria and other companies. It's just they were kind of trucking along in the background. They didn't really... The moment they got exposed to everyone, they got dogpiled. Yeah, but Sweet Baby Inc. is just a diversity, equity, and inclusion arm. And I kind of went down a little bit of a rabbit hole. I've only been researching this for like an hour or two, so I'm not really up with the times. Again, this is something that Kirsha talks about a lot. She might talk about this when she goes live tonight. I'm not sure, but it'll be interesting if she does. And so on Steam, where's my Steam tab? There it is. There was a Brazilian guy who made this Sweet Baby Ink Detected, and it is literally just a Steam list. Sorry, I'm going to get stream and Steam mixed up an awful lot. And all that he did was he made lists as a Steam curator of games with Sweet Baby Ink incorporated on it. And as you can see, it's a fair number of different games. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's like a dozen, like a bit more than a dozen or so. And look at here at some of the descriptions, which is quite entertaining. This is Hyperlight Breaker. Yeah, I think which is a sequel to Hyperlight Drifter, I'm not sure. Sweet Baby Inc. involved proof on their website, proof on their website, proof on their website, proof on their website, etc., 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 etc. But if you go back here, and that's not the one. That's not the one. Sorry, I have too many tabs open. I have literally hundreds of tabs open at the moment. Well, not hundreds, but no, that's the one. This guy deleted. You can see that, yeah, this is Chris Kindred, who is part of Sweet Baby Incorporated. Look at Sweet Baby Incorporated's, Twitter. Their Twitter, these posts are protected. Chris Kindred, these posts are protected. And then you go back to this guy. No, I'm sorry, I'm getting lost in the tabs. There we go, this guy. This is what he said. The Steam curator harassment group Sweet Baby Int Detected is led by this person, Cabrutsus Rambo or something. Here's them trying to be slick so they don't get reported. Even with the discriminatory language filed off, the group itself still fails the code of conduct. Anyway, report the F out of this group, and report the creator since he loves his account so much. So this guy, Chris Kindred, get with the times, old man. Tab count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's 20 tabs. So I've got at least 40 tabs open right now just on this window itself, and probably like another 40 or so more on a different one. But yeah, this guy is just going off his rocker and screaming to the entire wind. And you can see the kind of views that he's getting too. Let me just open this in a new tab. You can see the views that he's getting. 32,000 views. It's got 10,000 views. And this one, it doesn't actually show, 7,600 views. So each of these tweets is getting thousands of views. And so he is publicly on Twitter using his not insignificantly sized platform to demand that this curator is deleted off of Steam and has his Steam account reported. So he is actively engaging in cancel culture right now and brigading. 40k, those are rookie numbers. Look, I've only been doing this for like 2 or 3 months, all right? It's always the Vox fan, Kindred Vox fan confirmed. And yeah, if you go to this guy's Twitter page, again, he has 18,000 followers. So this is not a small guy as well. And he has quite a few contacts as well. Like, it's funny that, which one is this? No, that's not the one. His account is also weird because he has Comics is People, but Comics is People does not exist. So I don't know how long that's been there. And of course, for some reason, he says narrative designer Baby, Sweet Baby Inc. Why is that? And I looked into him because he has his own website, chriskindred.com. And this is his, I'm going to close this tab because I'm going to try and keep my lid on this tab. This is his website as well. I'm sure I am engaging in specific targeted harassment by showing his public website right this instant. I'm sorry, I can feel the belch coming on my second. This is fairly typical Sleeping Giants behavior, AstroTurf outrage to punish the unbelievers. Yeah. Now, look at this, guys. This guy is obviously... Hello, I'm Chris Kindred, a Brooklyn-based illustrator, writer, and game designer from 757. I'm not sure what 757 is. As an illustrator, I enjoy human stories with a tinge of science fiction. I'm a currently narrative developer at Sweet Baby Inc. This is bad grammar to begin with. I'm a currently narrative developer. This should be, I'm currently a narrative developer at Sweet Baby Inc. I only just noticed this, by the way. This wasn't pre-planned. Where I help consult game studios of all sizes tell their stories. Again, this guy illustrator, writer, and game designer. He has 2 major grammatical errors in this description right here. Charlie Olson at Inkwell Management represents me for literary work. For writing-related inquiries, please reach out to charlie@inkwellmanagement.com. Yeah, I am not going to trust your ability to write anything when your description on your own damn website has 2 major grammatical errors that make it very difficult to read in a natural fashion. This is absolutely absurd. Are you joking? And look at all his art. Like, this is a petty critique, okay? This is a completely petty critique, and I fully acknowledge that. But this is his Instagram, by the way. Sorry, my throat is already getting bad. This is his Instagram, and this is all the artwork that he's done. And for starters, I can't open these because I don't have an Instagram account or anything. This is pretty stereotypical, shall we say. You could tell what race he is, and all of his art is it's not what I would call amazing. For somebody who is apparently a professional, this is all not particularly visually good, I would say. Why is this not showing properly? Is this tab just not working? Oh no, it's because I messed up. Sorry, I accidentally muted. I accidentally sorry, I apologize. This is his public-facing website, and he looks unprofessional. Precisely. It looks unprofessional, highly unprofessional, and his artwork is just completely uninteresting. This is totally uninspired. I'll be blunt. This is very, very uninspired. And of course, there's something that's... I don't even know what that says. He can draw competently, I suppose, but this stuff especially, this is all stuff that you could get out of this, I'm saying right now, from modern standards, he is a professional. Yeah, this is the kind of person who should be worried about having his job taken over by AI, because I can say this conclusively. There is not a single piece of artwork in this entire Instagram catalog that could not be perfectly replicated by an AI generator. Look at this. It's all perfect AI material. This is the only thing, like the distorted proportions and everything. You can get this with AI easily. This like iPhone background thing, that could be made by AI. You could probably get like, I think it's Dull AI or something, or DALL-E, whatever. That could be created by an AI prompt instantly. This thing with the iPhone could be created by an AI prompt instantly. So could this thing with the floppy disks. So you probably couldn't get text like this, but I mean, Bossa Nova Civic Club, you know, that's a standard system font. You could have an AI generate this background and just add over. I could do this in Inkscape in like an hour at most. They hate change. Yeah, they definitely hate your kind of change, mate. This smeary, like, cross necklace stuff, like this stuff, all of this could be replicated with an AI in a few seconds. None of this artwork stands the AI test. The only artist who is threatened by AI is mediocre. I quite agree, Danny D. And this is because I am an artist. I do art stuff. I've mostly done ceramic art, but you know, I think that people should use AI as much as possible. Because AI is not going to hurt good artists with good names. It is going to hurt the bottom feeders who do not have the skill or the talent to market a product well enough to stand out. Because art is as much about branding as it is about the design. I would quite happily use AI-generated designs in things. The main reason that I don't is that I feel that if you use AI designs, then you are admitting that you can't really get a real artist to do what you want. Ah yes, Proctor has a severe case of the artism. You know, and just for example, when I'm role-playing, if I wanted somebody to draw a character of mine that I was role-playing with, it's entirely possible at this point I could just generate that character using AI. But I would, on a personal level, much prefer to pay an artist to draw my character, because I feel that it's only fair that I am dignifying that concept, that character concept I have in my mind, by being produced by a real artist. Using AI is moral good. At least 4 I find 7 out of 10 done by human hands is better than 8 out of 10 AI art. You just have to be a shitty artist to worry about being replaced by AI. Yeah, abstract artists who have that thing where there was a book that I was in an art gallery once, and it was genuinely a pretty good art gallery. But as I walked out, I'm actually kicking myself that I did not buy this book, because it would be hilarious to go back and review the contents of this book in current year. So this was about at least 7 or 8 years ago. But I was in an art gallery, and as I walked back out through like the gift shop and everything, I saw a book, an art book on the shelf, and it was entitled, I believe, "No, your 5-year-old couldn't draw that." Which was like a defense of modern art. And, you know, modern art is synonymous with bad stuff. Bad stuff. It's bad. And I really wish that I'd gotten that book. I really do, because I want to get into the mindset of the kind of people who think that these kind of things are acceptable to produce, and why they think they shouldn't be replaced by AI. Because to me, this is something that I have a problem with a lot when it comes to my art. I am a perfectionist. I really hate to show my work. This is why I like vectors, because vector art is inherently perfect. Vector art, I draw the lines and they will be reproduced by the computer, because it's data points and not pixels. Vector art I very much enjoy, because it is just a collection of data points that the computer draws lines between, and it doesn't matter what scale or resolution that is at, it's always going to be mathematically perfect. And so it suits my attitude of perfectionism a great deal, and even then I get very angry at it sometimes because it misinterprets angles and so on that I want to put in. So that helps me with my perfectionism, and I find it very difficult to show workings out and sketches and so on, because I have this bug in my head that says things should be perfect, so I can't show my workings out. In regards to AI, it's definitely given forever flat anime girls an opportunity to get some booba ass and thighs. Maniacal foreigner, I don't know, it sounds like the "if a Mexican who doesn't speak English can take your job, it's not an unimportant job" argument that leftoids make. I mean, you can make that argument. I don't claim to be perfect in my attitude. I just feel that, again, there is no purpose to art if your art can be remade instantly and perfectly using an algorithm. Now, if you can make the art better than the AI can, or you have prestige and you're able to connect with people who care about the human touch in their art. I mean, it's why, although that we have industrial processes for producing furniture and so on, carpenters who are professionals, who have businesses, can still make over $100,000 every year. A professional carpenter in the United States, especially an artisan carpenter, can make over $100,000 a year easily on brand name alone, even though technically there is nothing stopping any kind of industrial process from taking his designs, or a design like his, and just remaking it and producing tens of thousands of copies. The fact that the availability becomes higher automatically reduces the value of the product. Whereas if you have somebody make something that is unique and cannot be, even though it can be replicated, you associate the concept of value with the scarcity. And again, I'm sure that like my friend Alex, who is an economist, would be able to explain this much better than I can. But that's just like a thumbnail sketch of my perspective, is that you have to associate the value of the product with the person behind the product. Because if the value of the product is entirely based on what it looks like, then you are doomed to be replaced by automation, no matter what. Because the personal touch does not matter as soon as it's replaced by an automated system. AI is going through the bottom 40% of office workers, so CPA types will be fine, but the office drones won't. Yeah, I quite agree. It's like, I'm not worried at all by ChatGPT 4 or whatever replacing my job as, well, not my job, as a writer, because creativity and writing is never going to be fully replaced by AI. Because again, the value is in the eye of the beholder, and you need a certain level of understanding of what good writing is. That's a whole other topic. I'm not going to get into it too much. A perfect copy of a Van Gogh will never be worth the same as a genuine Van Gogh. Yeah, that's pretty accurate, Maniacal Foreigner. But let's go a little bit deeper down this rabbit hole because it is quite interesting. As I said, Sweet Baby Inc. itself has just completely protected itself. This guy has gone full, these posts are protected, so there's nothing more we can get out of him. But I found the connections that he had quite interesting. Because, and also scratch point here, DEI isn't an actual job. They hurt customers' creativity and the gaming industry. They don't want actual jobs because they'd rather inject their worldview into the real hard work of others. They can diffuse by ceasing operation, nothing less. And that's in response to this Steam comment here. I know this group claims it isn't trying to kill Sweet Baby Inc., but this is exactly what will happen if you don't stop now. Not all SBI employees are as unreasonable as that one random person on Twitter. No, yes, they are. They have actual jobs and families to support. It's not like they are hurting anybody. Please consider closing this group. And I love this. I love this as well. And Tristan Maybon says, what families do they support? They preach against family values. The co-founder says she can get through 2 scripts in a day, or 2 if she feels like it, when she was hired for a week's time, and sometimes it might take even longer. Purposeful censorship of games is not a job. And what's the point here? I like this comment too. Sorry guys, I know the asbestos plant has been covering your town in a thick layer of smog while producing nothing of value except lung cancer, but we just found out the guys there have bills to pay and families to feed, so we just can't get ourselves to shut it down. The studios that closed have to dissent from not hurting anybody, while games fail not only because of them. Their push for propaganda in games aggravates the structural problem and worsens the experience of the players, who generally don't like being preached at. And as Tunnel Jew says, pointing out games that this company worked on will literally kill this company. Okay, but let's think about why that might be, and if that's such a bad thing. It's not like they are hurting anybody. Gaming companies are having massive layoffs. I wonder why. Yeah, and this actually ties back into the Prism situation just a tiny bit, because as somebody pointed out, like Sony is a massive international corporation. Sony even has a weapons division. They don't want actual jobs because they're rent seekers. That's a mighty small violin. I agree. That's a beautiful post. How dare you try and get Stasi agents fired? Don't you know they've got families to feed? More of a reason to point it out. I agree, Azahara. I agree. But Prism was cut, and people have been speculating that it is because the whole entertainment industry at the moment is going through enormous layoffs. Like Sony has cut thousands of jobs, maybe I think it was 900 or something at least, maybe as many as thousands. There are other parts of the entertainment industry, gaming industry, and so on, that are laying off hundreds and hundreds of staff. Pointing out that there is a cancerous tumor will only help in the removal of the tumor. Yeah. This Steam curator had less than 4,000 members when the company highlighted it. Isn't Prism like one of the top 10 largest EN corpos behind Kawai? Yes, it is. Prism had 7 generations. It had several dozen people in it, I believe. And it had been going for a long time. Everything is woke, everything is Marxist, everything is DEI, and you have to point it all out. That's actually a great comment, Maniacal Foreigner, because yeah, that was something that Anita Sarkeesian said. That's one of the most famous quotes that Anita Sarkeesian ever made, is that everything is racist, everything is sexist, and it is your job to point it all out. And yet, mysteriously, the moment we turn around and start commenting on this kind of stuff, wow, we're not allowed to comment on it. We're not allowed to point out the things that the company itself has highlighted on its own website. Isn't that just fascinating? Isn't that interesting? Doesn't that really make you think? Didn't Kawaii also implode recently? The annoying thing about Kawaii is that there are 2 companies. One is called Kawaii, and the other is called Kawai or something. That one has, like, Kawaii, the one with Nene and Mozu, the reincarnation of Shoe Nice. She was in Kawaii, whereas there is also a different company called Kawaii, which is like this exact same spelling, but the W's are two connected V's. I don't know why. It's so absurd. Like, it's such a strange thing. I'm astonished that it hasn't been sued. Like, it's so easy to confuse the two. I don't understand how there hasn't been some kind of lawsuit between them to say, you know, that's one legitimate case where if I knew there was another VTuber company, if I made like TVA Corp and somebody else made a company called TVA Core with an E instead of a P, I would legitimately ask why. I think that we need to have a legal dispute. One of us needs to change our name, because that is a very obvious conflict of marketing interest, especially if we're both a VTuber group. Sorry, I am gesticulating quite a lot at the moment. I apologize if I occasionally hit my microphone. Excuse me a second. I need to kawaii and legally distinct kawaii. One is project and the other is production. Okay, I mean, I know nothing about the V one. Sony Gaming moved from Japan to California, shows where the center of the corporate culture was for that division when it's in a 400-kilometer circle that's actively bleeding out skilled workers. Bays Connect. Let me just blow my nose for a second. You are asking Niji-Sanji to sue you since they already have VTA? At least they know better than to call themselves Kawaii or whatever. It's just a bizarre situation. It really is. I do wonder if there were any frantic calls to a lawyer at some point. But yeah, let me get rid of these two tabs. And this is one of the interesting things, because I actually forget exactly how I got onto this person's profile, but this is Amy Leah Shaw. I think she was a repost from somebody else's Sweet Baby Inc. things that I got onto from that guy that we were looking at recently. So she is a narrative designer with Sweet Baby Inc. And you can see she has all the she, her, trans flags. But I mean, this is obviously, you know, I'm pretty sure this is a biological woman. And she's not a bad-looking one either, so she seems to be very much one of the captured, one of the true believer feminist types. And she has a lot of like pro-Palestine stuff on her bio as well. You can see this guy, you know, flag of the Palestinian territories. So she's reposted a ton of pro-Palestine stuff. I don't think AI will harm VTubing because one of the main draws is you're supporting and celebrating the success of a real person. I agree with you too. That's a very good point. VTA sounds like an STI. Hollow Life. And I'm not going to comment too much on the Palestine stuff, except that, you know, I watch Glenn Greenwald, so I'm not exactly anti-Palestine, but still, this is a classic example of somebody who seems to support Palestine, but also does so in a way that, yeah, I would really like to put this person in the same room as a Hamas member and see how her Free Palestine rhetoric gets her with the you know, with the hardened terrorist. Andrew Leah Shaw, yeah, and here's the thing that I wanted to highlight, and this, obviously, he is a person of color. Back from the dead, I'm Avery Beard, graphic designer, proud black a proud black cosplayer, he/him. Sweet Baby's official account has now had to lock itself down to gross, racist, sexist, and even more horrible rhetoric. People are now not afraid to be openly bigoted in the supposed name of purifying games, so they don't have to see a black person for more than 2 seconds. Can you really be a feminist if you are pro-trans? Isn't that contradictory? Don't think about it. Nazism was rooted in Hitler's compassion for the German people. Shouldn't be pro either side, they both suck. No credits before 2024, another grifter, yeah. Pronouns in bio, pronouns in bio. A luminous person of grifting. And let's just go to this quote as well. Good grief, this is long. I get to see, who is this person? Felix at home. Now, this is another Sweet Baby Inc. consultant. So they say, I get to see a lot of tweets somehow blaming diversity as the reason for layoffs, genuinely as if the economy was doing really great and capitalism simply worked before Miles Morales was Spider-Man. This is another thing that I find bizarre. Do you remember, if somebody in Discord or anybody who is watching right now, because I need to think about this, do you remember that time when, I think it was the US government or whatever, they released this image that was like, we are the resistance, we are... yeah, they said, we are the resistance, and they compared themselves to all of these, like, heroic factions within popular culture, and they posted that as, like, a meme, a leftist meme on Twitter or whatever. This comes across like that because these people are very bizarre. Hey, there's a community note, sounds interesting. I'll get to that community note in a moment. But these people have this bizarre infantile mindset where they can't compare anything to anything that's not pop culture, because here he does. Yeah, it worked and continues to work. That's why your stuff is failing. Yeah, precisely. This is capitalism in action. The people are voting with their wallets. The weirdest part is when I see takes from developers or people who have dev bios, at least. It seems wild that a dev would see thousands of layoffs and blame not the industry giants, but instead a 15-person narrative company founded by a black woman. Yes, because because those giants are hiring the narrative company. These people think a company of narrative designers that freelance on projects has somehow single-handedly caused the employment collapse in games, that have, you know, the insane notion of infinite growth or capitalist greed, blah, blah, blah. What are the replies to this nonsense like? He's just replying to himself. He's just replying to himself. Good grief. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about this guy. How many followers does he have? 14.5k followers. Look, these are the replies. It's still just himself. He's just talking to himself. Nobody cares what this guy is saying. Look at this. Nobody is actually replying to him. It's all replies to himself. So, is this guy botting? Look, I can't find anything. This is absurd. Look, he's got 72,000 views. 72,000 views on this tweet, and it's just him replying to himself. Okay, there are some people who are actually replying to him. And it's all, again, it's all antis. It's all people that are just going, I'm not going to buy games from you. But they're doing God's work, curator tabs, not for curating games. Yeah, and notice, he has no replies to any of these people. All these people, he's not replying to a single one of them. This is literally exactly what creators are for. Incorrect, this is exactly what creators are for. You know what you did, right? I'm gonna go to here too. This is really irritating. You can't actually open new tabs. I really wish you could open new tabs on Twitter. I just don't understand why you can't do that. So let me just open that one. I think this is the old one. Yeah, this is also, just cover this quickly, is that at this time, this guy reported at March the 1st at 10 to 12 p.m., which is like last night for me, so nearly 24 hours ago by now. At this point, when all of this controversy started, Sweet Baby Inc. Detected had 5,000 followers. In less than something like 24 hours, they gained another 20 or 30,000 followers. And currently, I did close them on Steam, but I think on Steam at the moment, they have over 50,000 followers. Control and click the tweet. Does that actually work? Yes, it does work. Thank you very much. I think that's Takadachi. I can't remember your exact name. So thank you very much. That's very useful. Sorry. Yeah, so let me get back to... I'm getting very much lost in the Twitters. This is my ADHD kicking in really here. But yeah, I will just complete the tangent that I had on Amy Leah Shaw. So she is a narrative designer with Sweet Baby Inc. And she also says, partner... This is the interesting thing. Her partner, notice, not married, Dominic Pichita / Dom96. Look here. I have this guy's profile open as well. Look here. Mastodon Chirper, partner to Dive Amy Dive. He is a software engineer at our favorite company, Cloudflare. The same company that has been trying to censor kiwi farms. So isn't that fascinating? Amy Leah Shaw, writer and narrative designer with Sweet Baby Inc., is partners with Dominic Pichita, who is a member of Cloudflare's software engineering department, which is censoring Kiwi farms. How fascinating! How interesting! The web is just absolutely fascinating. I notice these things and I immediately am just like, that's so interesting. That's so interesting. And let me just scroll down a little bit, because this guy is just a massive, like, a random tech bro and so on. And here he is talking about GPT-4, etc., Russian embassy, London. And here he is, very sad news, Alexei Navalny. I won't go into Alexei Navalny. But these people, 2024 elections, again, this stuff is just a classic. Oh no, the evil conservatives and stuff are going to use 3D AI to make, campaign photographs and everything that you're going to believe. My hot take, DoorDash/Uber Eats Deliveroo should be a non-profit organization owned by delivery drivers. Lots of great teams are hiring across Cloudflare right now. Overground lines have been renamed, celebrating London's unique history. What's this? Oh yeah, this is a Sadiq Khan. I hate Sadiq Khan so much. What are the replies to this like? Again, I absolutely love reading through, because Sadiq Khan is the same guy who vetoed the statue of the Queen in London, and then turned that statue into like a trans prostitute who died. Just actual bot who only comments on current thing. I'm always amazed they don't even try to hide their incestuousness. Proc, did you even watch Fox? You already found this weeks ago. She found some of it, but not this specifically, I don't believe. Is this real? Yeah. Amera, is this real? Yep, this is real. This is real. Sadiq Khan, Mayor of London. For the first time ever, over 6 London Overground lines are each getting a new name and colour. Read more about the inspiration and meaning behind each new name. This is Liberty, Lioness, Mid-May, Suffragette, Windrush. So Windrush was a bunch of people from... that was a massive scandal in British politics recently. That a bunch of people from the Caribbean islands were imported to England after the depopulation that occurred during the Second World War, because so many young British men were killed in the First and Second World Wars. So the Windrush generation, which, by the way, was a single ship of about, I think, less than 100 people, actually. For some reason, guys, British politics was completely consumed by this gargantuan, horrifying, racist scandal against the Windrush generation, this glorious group of Caribbean immigrants who single-handedly rebuilt and contributed massive amounts of labour to Britain after coming in from the Caribbean, because it was found out that the British messed up their papers and their importation papers, and so they weren't given actual passports and British citizenship, which, in fairness, was a genuine screw-up on part of the British government, because the British government is terminally incompetent. But it turned into this massive thing, how Britain was systemically evil and racist for not recognising the grand accomplishments of this group of less than 100 people who single-handedly rebuilt Britain as black labourers after the destruction caused by World War II. And now this has gotten so far that he has now renamed an entire part of the London Underground after the Windrush line. And of course, once again, the Weaver line. Yes, textile trade. Look at this, even all of this. The Weaver line, celebrating an area of London known for its textile trade, which has been shaped over the centuries by a diverse group of migrant communities and individuals. Yes, migrant communities like the Welsh, because the Welsh weavers, the Welsh and the Flemish weavers were the people who were the overwhelming majority of British textile industries for the entire time the British textile industry was even a thing. And then the Suffragette line, celebrating this movement with its London links that fought for votes for women and paved the way for women's rights. The Mid-May line, honouring the work of the Mid-May NHS hospital during the HIV/AIDS crisis that made it a valued and respected place for the LGBTQ community today. Yes, and what were the group that were primarily spreading AIDS? Aren't Welsh not people? I mean, the Welsh aren't people, but we don't talk about them. But most people in the Caribbean are not even black, Lamau. Yeah, hey, this is another insane thing. A respected place for the LGBTQ community today. Yes, the same community that were refusing to shut things down like gay bars and so on, because even though every single person who was going to them was getting AIDS. It's really hard not to glow on the internet sometimes, guys. It really is hard. Our grids, having an STI is my identity. The Lioness line. Oh my goodness. Map color yellow. Running through Wembley, this line honours the historic achievements and lasting legacy of the England's women's football team that continues to empower and inspire the next generation of girls. I have literally never heard anybody talk about the England's football team in my entire life as a British person. The Liberty Line. This line runs through Havering and celebrates the historic independence of the people of Havering and its status as the Royal Liberty, an area that traditionally had more self-governance and autonomy. Notice there are no black people in this one, that he doesn't care about it. He mentions them last. And here, just as British as you, which is why I am actively erasing your history. Go to Pakistan, Sadiq. You don't belong here. You are not British. You are anti-British. And all the comments, waste of money, waste of time, waste of space, and that's just you. What a waste of taxpayers' money. I love this one. Scotty goes again. Mayor of London. Oh dear. The stabbings line, the anti-white racism line, the 15-minute cities line, the Ules scam line, the illegal immigration line, Khan is a C-word line. And this one too. I just love this. I love this. Maybe focus on stopping the lawlessness on the tube before spending £6.3 million on renaming lines. Look at these statistics. London underground crime and ASB cases, 2022 and 2023. And again, these numbers are also during the pandemic. Like 2022 was when the London Underground line was still mostly shut down. So look at these numbers. Violence, over 1,000 cases of violence. Theft of personal property, over 5,000 cases. Public order, robbery, sexual offences, over 500. Hate crime, over 500. All other offences. So there's thousands and thousands and thousands of crimes. I have just seen this will cost over 6 million. Is London truly so lost that you are more interested in choosing woke names for train lines than tackling shoplifting, knife crime, Jew hatred marches, unaffordable rents? I guess ULEZ is really filling the coffers, Akon. Oops, sorry, that was the wrong button. These people are just so incestuous. It astonishes me. It astonishes me how incestuous these people are. Was there something else that I wanted to highlight about this guy? It's something down here. No, this is pretty much the whole thing. So yeah, you can see that. Oh, and he also has the stupid start. Why does he have a picture of the worst Star Trek character? Like, T'Pol was just such a terrible, awful character. Azihara, most people in the Caribbean are mixed, and mixed people here are mostly European. There's only a couple of countries that are majority black. I see. Isn't London getting as bad as Chicago for theft? Yeah, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. I would not visit London nowadays. Over £6 million. Maniacal foreigner, please. Please, maniacal foreigner, please. We're starting to glow a little bit too much, guys. We're starting to glow a little bit too much. And that's just reported cases. Yeah, exactly. That's just this kind of stuff. I would really love to dig into Sweet Baby Inc. just a tiny bit more, because it is just a fascinating rabbit hole to dive down. Really, really interesting to me. And also here again, Emilia Shaw. this is the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League debacle, which is a dreadful game that everybody has hated. She is credited as the junior scriptwriter and script coordinator and script coordinator. As far as I know, this is basically like the person who, there's a ton of other people as well, but she's credited here. So she says, name so nice, they said it twice. Congratulations to all the gorgeous people I worked alongside to get to this launch day. I really can't understate the amount of talent, passion, and love that was put in. Loved my time with the campaign. Everyone's dialogue felt perfectly like the character to me. Excited to see what's coming first season. There was a streamer here. Disabled/invisible illness. He, they, huge tabletop nerd, proud cat dad. What the people love lying, wow. This you, because if so, but hypocritical to say I can't enjoy something that I have. Allergic to good things. The like ratio's gotta mean something, dog. These people are just insane. Look at this guy. I could ramble on about this for years. I could. It's absolutely insane. No, I have to go back twice. Why did your team do zero research into the lore or respect canon or any of that? Why did they write the story this way? What were your intentions here? Why is it so out of character, so off track? And how it is? How has WP Pictures, DC Comics, Kids, DC Official gone so off script? Do you care about the fans of your franchise anymore? The history, the characters, any of it? The team should have made a separate universe instead of dragging down the entire Arkham franchise with it. Respectfully again, why? Why waste so much time and money on such an experimental move? Seriously, this is what we get after all this time? Come on, even SS fans do not like this. Unfortunately saving money and skipping this game. No response from Dive Amy Dive or Sweet Baby Inc. as expected. Kill the DC franchise is what they should call the last decade of WB games and all that stuff. What do the more replies have? And of course, you have the classic, it's because you fans are racist, white supremacists, and ableists, and letting you know this on your hobby media is good for you. Chud. Chud. Proud metis Canadian, trans, lesbian, autistic, they, them. They had no intention of respecting the law because they're in a woke cult trying to push their literal gay and feminazi agendas down everyone else's throats. Tone-deaf retard that has no clue about DC video games or anything, just money someone gave her to be brain-dead and pass on political messages. How dare they appropriate Silent Hill 2? I'm actually offended. They make their own universe. It flops. We are reaching soy levels that shouldn't even be possible. Guildmage Troy, the entire thing about the textile trade being modern, progressive, kosher is baffling to me because it literally relied upon cheap cotton from India and pre-Civil War South. DC's been shit since they began New 52. The virus just spread to other media and making it shit. That's a bingo. Exactly. It is most, and that's just, we got back up to that. I just find it amazing that all these people somehow exist. Because I generally, again, you can very much blame Thrang for this, because Thrang was the guy who encouraged me to get Twitter. And it just amazes me how much the insane people on Twitter are, how insane they are, and how they keep... What I don't understand is that, again, we're going back to the Sadiq Khan thing from earlier, and these people. None of these people basically don't get any positive engagements for anything. And there's, of course, this. By the way, this account, Lego Butts, is the biggest of the cancel pigs, was Zoe Quinn's PR person and tried and failed to cancel me many times. Yeah, so this is another fascinating rabbit hole that I know that Kirsha has been very interested in, because Kirsha recently has been going back down the rabbit hole with things like Gamergate and so on. Gamergate! Before the stream ends, I have some abominations I would like for you to show anybody. I mean, send them to me, see what it is. Sometimes I really hate being autistic enough because of the brain-dead morons I share a diagnosis with. Yeah, same very much. It feels good to not consume anything coming from the West. You guys can keep your diversity games and comics. I will keep watching my anime women. Yeah, exactly. They're a very small percentage of the population. Unfortunately, they have a giant sucking hole where their personality should be, a hole they fill with politics. Precisely. These are people who are so insulated and so isolated in their own politics, and they live such beatific lives with no stress or issues whatsoever, that year 10 of just wanting to play video games. Like, as I was saying, that Kirsche has been going back through old Gamergate stuff, and she's been, like, drawing a conspiracy wall or something like that with the people who used to be part of Gamergate, as in the Gamergate anti-movement. Gamergate are all racist, evil chuds and trolls, and drawing parallels to the modern time. And I really hope that she gets somewhere with it, because it's absolutely fascinating how many of these people that we are now seeing back in the spotlight were active during the Gamergate years, and how they have all continued on into these careers in things like Sweet Baby Inc., these DEI stuff. Good news, Westerns are not consuming stuff from the West either. That's why these companies are collapsing. Yeah. And these people really do think that by destroying these companies, again, the revolution must always move further left, because in current gaming media, these people have gotten everything they wanted like 10 years ago. They have more representation. They have vastly more representation than they used to have. Like, if you go back even like 20 years, the representation is now even more parallel than it was like 2 or 3 years ago. The average AAA game has mandatory diversity both in the background and in the publication. You have diverse characters, you have gender sliders, you have pronouns, you have all this kind of nonsense, and yet, of course, it's still not enough. It is still not enough. I mean, Starfield came out, Starfield had pronouns in bio and everything, Starfield was an inclusive story and whatever. It was a success. It's a bad game, but it was a financial success, and yet it's bad. We are still all racist, evil chuds. We didn't buy enough Starfield. It doesn't matter. It does not matter how much you give these people. They don't care. The revolution must always move further left. The people who, the cycle is always perpetual cancelling. I can guarantee you that these people, stop playing with your water bottle. I'm not playing with my water bottle. Shut up. I'm just gesticulating wildly, okay? Does anyone remember the Vitiligo slider in Baldur's Gate 3? I don't, because I have not played Baldur's Gate 3. And it just gets to me, guys. It's literally a godless religion, precisely. And because it's a godless religion, you see, this is kind of my perspective as a Christian, that I am a Christian, and I can open the Bible, and I can read things like, thou shalt not kill, or thou shalt not steal, thou shalt be kind to your neighbors, and those are things that I cannot change. If I believe that there is a God, and that his word is contained in the Bible, and I read those very unambiguous commandments, I cannot then go away and say, oh, actually, God was okay with killing people all along. Like, there are cases where God did say, these people should be killed, but again, I'm kind of going a bit into the lore here, but I can't say, oh, God allows me to kill people, when there are scriptures that I can cite which say, no, God says that life is sacred, and that unless God directly says to you it's okay to kill this person, you can't do it. But these people, they have no God, they have no Bible. Their Bible is whatever comes up into their own head at the time. They can change their own dogma, they can change their own priesthood anytime they like. So there is no foundation for them to stand upon. It's not godless. Their God is just the prince of this world. I mean, yeah, maniacal foreigner, quite literally. 3 John 1:15, the whole world is lying in the power of the wicked one. That's becoming more and more evident nowadays. Thousands of years of religious scholarship and collective wisdom versus the current thing. Yeah. It's just depressing. It really is very depressing to have to deal with this kind of stuff. Tick and James Lindsay, I think you said discussed it, the woke, or disgusted it. The woke is a religion where their God is the dialectic in making man reflect God, who is a transgender queer's image, and be like the third part of their Gnostic Trinity. I mean, yeah, basically. Pretty much. Do not ascribe the devil to these idiots. It's far worse than you think. I mean, I've always had the perspective that the devil doesn't need to do much to make humans act in very stupid and self-destructive ways. Humans are very good at acting self-destructively by themselves. And that's where I think that people go off the deep end, is that they attribute very human flaws to divine interference, whereas people are not. It's the difference between order and chaos. It is very easy to have a chaotic system. It is very hard to have an orderly system, because an orderly system is very vulnerable to chaos, whereas a chaotic system is not particularly vulnerable to order. You can take an orderly system, it's like a house of cards. A house of cards takes a great deal of effort and precision and care to construct, but with a single errant gust of air, that house of cards comes tumbling down. And it doesn't matter how much effort and perfection was in that house of cards. And that is the problem that we see in the modern day. Is that the structures of order that create a positive societal environment are not built upon the rock mass. They are built upon sand. And so when the chaos of humans' natural tendencies comes along and starts to sweep people up, there is no hard foundation for people to rely on. It's just like the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is terrible because they have no moral foundation for people to base their faith upon. They have giant churches, they have, they have fancy robes and all that, but the church is no longer a source of moral authority in any capacity. And when they were a source of moral authority, they threatened people with hellfire. Whereas that's not the case. You can't threaten people, you can't make people base their moral decisions on the threat of punishment from external sources. It's just like going back to the Mosaic Law. The Mosaic Law that the Jews were given when they came out of Egypt said to them, each person must have a copy of the law. Or at least each priest, each king, etc., had to have a copy of the entire Mosaic Law. They had to read it for themselves each day in an undertone, so that each person was intimately acquainted with the Mosaic Law, which was all like, you have to do this, you have to do that, etc., and so on. And that was so that people were not able to claim ignorance. And that law had many different punishments, but the point of the law was not to scare people into compliance. It was to make people understand why they were following that law, because when they followed that law, they were both blessed by God, and they also created a society where things were stable. Because if you go back and you look at the Mosaic law that is given to Moses in Deuteronomy and so forth, then that law is a very comprehensive law. It's interesting to look at things like the economic aspects of that law, and this is why the Jewish people are not particularly liked, because the original Mosaic law said that the Jews could not engage in things like usury and interest lending and so forth. And when they went into the original Promised Land, God gave out to each of the tribes of Israel specific land, and each family was given a plot of land in Israel, and that plot of land was each person's land for all generations. An Israelite could not buy or sell his own property. If a family line ended, then it would be folded, their property would be folded into another family's line, their closest relatives, because again, they were all close relatives of the tribe of whatever son of Adam, of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, etc. But in the Mosaic Law, every Jew had his plot of land, his own vineyard, his own fig tree, and that could not be taken away from him. The only thing that even the owner of that land themselves could do would be to temporarily sell their land to pay off some kind of debt that they had incurred. But at the end of 50 years, that land would be returned to them. Under the Mosaic Law, you could not take the property, the ancestral property of a Jewish family, under any circumstances. And one of the main things that God holds against the Jews in the rest of the Bible is that they ignore this line. They completely ignore this. This is something that is held against them repeatedly by the prophets that God sends to preach to the Israelites. He says, you are ignoring the case of the widow and the fatherless boy. You are extorting one another. You are stealing each other's ancestral property. You are violating these commandments that I gave you to create a self-sustaining, stable economic system where each person was guaranteed a minimum level of personal property and understanding. I'm sorry for that rant, but that's maybe I could do a bigger stream about that at some point, because it is really fascinating, regardless of whether you are an actively religious person or not. This kind of stuff is very interesting. I don't think any denomination has the answer. Your relation to God has to be more personal these days. Too many charlatans in high places. I mean, in some ways I would agree with you. I mean, I do think that understanding the Bible is incredibly important. I'm not going to comment on this section because I don't want to activate yet another backup IT account. Eastern Orthodoxy is incredibly corrupt too. Just look at Cyprus or Greece. Yeah. A house divided against itself cannot stand. I agree. I think Protestantism caused the issue by making religion a personalistic thing, leading to major issues. I don't support Catholics due to corruption, and considering myself an Orthodox Christian. I agree. No denomination, while divided, has whole truth. And again, this is not the stream for it, sadly, but I mean, I could go on at length. The thing is, I do not like to shotgun things off the top of my head. I really don't. Speaking of Jews, look at your Discord ping. Morally speaking, the Christian upbringing has had the most success. Yeah, and this is something very interesting as well. Let me have another drink. I'll be a second. That there is, it's quite interesting. This is a personal experience of mine. I'll look at what you wanted a second, Thrang. But recently, I was speaking to people and out in the countryside, and it was quite interesting because I was meeting with a guy who lived alone in a house, and he had a large number of children. And it was in an area where there was a community of people that had more or less all bought houses in the same plot of land. They had their own community. It was really nice. It was a really nice place. There was a great vibe to it. And their children had mostly, their grandchildren had mostly moved away. It had a very much end of an era kind of feeling about it. And it was sad. And I was talking to this old guy, and he was a very nice person. And he said, I'm not personally religious. But however, I based my family life on the example of a man who I used to know who was part of the Birmingham Brotherhood. And the Birmingham Brotherhood are basically a small group of, I'm not even sure if they're still a thing really, of like people in Birmingham who are very traditional Christians. And he said that this guy who was part of the Birmingham Brotherhood, he had 14 children. So he certainly fulfilled the biblical command to be fruitful and multiply. But he said he home educated every single one of those 14 children, and he brought them up in his traditional religion. And he said that, not all of them became members of the Birmingham Brotherhood and so on. But he said every single one of these children went on to be an entirely successful person. Every single one of them married. Every single one of them had at least 20 or 30-year-long marriages. I don't think he said a single one of them had ever gotten divorced. Every single one of them had a stable income. Every single one of those 14 children had their own house, had been able to buy their own property. So that guy with a Christian upbringing had 14 successes out of 14 children, and had inspired this guy, who himself had something like 8 or 9 children, to copy him. No, not in the religious sense, but in the kind of principles that he had brought up his children with. And every single one of this guy's children had been able to marry, had a stable marriage, had their own children, and had bought their own property. So that's something like 30 different people who all massively benefited from a traditional Christian upbringing, or one degree of separation from a traditional Christian upbringing. And so, that kind of says something, doesn't it? That just kind of, the proof is in the pudding, or the proof is in the people that you bring up. Whereas, look at all these people. I'll switch back to just chatting, actually. Look at all these people that we've just talked about. How many of them are married? How many of them are successful? How many of them have something more in their life than ranting all day on Twitter? None of them. Absolutely none of them. I mean, can we really say that we have a true Catholic upbringing? What we have now is a combination of Enlightenment values and Christian values, but those values are being lost now. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I do agree. Again, I'm not saying I'll return to traditional Christianity or Catholicism or anything, because I have my own opinions on all of that and my own attitude towards it. But what I'm saying is that we have lost something that we need. If I ever have children, I am most definitely not going to send them to a regular school, because those schools have been completely infiltrated. Guildmage Troy, why are the European Christians being so schizo now? I mean, I'm not really sure what you mean by schizo. You'd have to explain yourself a little bit more. That is why the hatred towards Christianity is so pronounced. Losers hate the successful. Yeah, exactly. These people, I try not to be unsympathetic towards these kind of people that I see on Twitter. It's very easy to kind of go the route of laughing at these individuals because, yeah, they're a very sad bunch. They're a very miserable bunch. But at the same time, I try my best to keep in mind that these people are victims themselves. They have been sold a lie. They have been sold they have been manipulated and exploited by a very powerful group of people who have not had their best interest at heart, who have not been willing to give them the tools they need to succeed, and who have exploited them. And so although all of these people, I'm happy to kind of laugh at their stupid Twitter antics, if any of them came to me and said, look, I'm miserable about things, I need help, I would still give them help. I would still do my best to be patient and understanding of them. And I would still do my best to say, look, I don't agree with your attitudes, I don't agree with your viewpoints. If you are willing to understand that and accept that I am not going to agree with you, I'm willing to have a conversation with you and try and help you with whatever ails you. But you have to understand that my morals cannot be compromised for the sake of your feelings. And for most of those people, that is a red line. They will not cross that line. They would much rather live in misery, and they would much rather roll around in the filth and the disgusting attitudes that they have than accept that they are in any way wrong and make any effort to try and change and improve their situation. Magdalena's Rex, I hate how some of the modern right nowadays is against Christianity for being Jewish. I consider it the form of right-wing impossibilism when no amount of conservative reform is enough. Yeah, that is another extreme. And this is why I think I was talking on Thursday about how I dislike the idea of the pendulum swinging. A lot of people think that the pendulum swinging from left to right is a good thing. I think that it's just going to end up with more extremism on the right as opposed to on the left. And that is why, fundamentally, I think the only thing that you can do in life to ensure a positive change beyond the religious aspect, which I'm not going to go into fully, is get a good wife who you can trust to bring up your children well, to educate your children to have strong, fundamental moral values that they understand transcend their own opinions and attitudes, that are worth holding even if they cause them physical distress and pain at times in their life. And make sure you maintain the family line. That your children speak to you, that your grandchildren speak to you, and their grandchildren speak to their parents. You have to maintain the basis of the family, because that is all of this leftist propaganda, of all of this Marxist dogma. Remember what Karl Marx wrote in the unpublished draft of the Communist Manifesto. He said very explicitly, we must destroy the family unit. The traditional family unit must be destroyed at all costs. There is no act that is taboo, there is no act that is verboten, so long as we destroy the family unit, because it is only by separating children from their parents that we are able to indoctrinate them, and we are able to, quote-unquote, liberate them from their oppression. Get a good wife, man. I mean, yeah, I'm not asking something easy, am I? People can disagree and coexist. That's the whole point of being civilized out of barbarism. Yeah. Mm. The devil's words are sweet. That is quite true. Remember that the devil can quote scripture for his own ends. True, too. I mean, that's the problem, is that nowadays, where do you find a good wife? Where do you find these tools and these things? And I don't know myself, because, hey, I'm not married yet. Hopefully someday I will be. And trust me, if or when I do marry, the first thing I'm going to do is go online and going to tell people, I made it and here's how. Because I really do feel an obligation towards society to kind of warn people about the situation that we're going on, because not only are people being exploited, they are ignorant of how they are being exploited. They are ignorant of the fundamental aspects of how society works. Because again, going back to that guy, I switch back for a second to show who it was. Yeah, Lego Butts, is that this is something that he says all the time, and I've completely forgotten what it is. There it is. Yeah, here it is. I get to see a lot of tweets somehow blaming diversity as the reason for layoffs, genuinely as if the economy was doing really great and capitalism simply worked before Miles Morales was Spider-Man. And this guy in particular is refusing to acknowledge the idea that anything except his morality could be wrong, or anything could be right, rather. This person does not understand economics, and it's why I think, I'm so grateful that I have a very close friend who is extraordinarily skilled in economics, because he has been able to help me understand why the world is the way it is. Proctor, it may be the internet, but Euro-Christians seem more focused on ethnic identity or reviving Rome, or focused on dogma instead of the true love of Christ and living a Christ-like life. Christianity in North America has its own problems. It may be the American cannot comprehend the European. I mean, I would agree with you, Guildmate Shroy. Those are all perfectly valid points, and that's something that, I personally would disagree with, because I go by. One of the most fundamental things that I go by is what Paul wrote to the Galatians, where he said, if an angel out of heaven, if I or an angel out of heaven were to declare to you one more word apart from the things that has already been declared to you, i.e. the teachings of Christ, then let that person be accursed, because that to me is a fundamental part of the Bible. It underlines the fact that you cannot add to it and you cannot take away from it. You can interpret it. There are interpretations that can be made from it, and I don't claim to have the perfect interpretation or anything. But a fundamental flaw that I see in, as you said, European Christians, is that they do not take that idea to heart, is that they look at all of the traditions and the doctrines and the caked on stuff that has been added over 2,000 years. That is, in a way, is exactly like how the Israelites have gone, exactly how the Jews have gone, is that the Jews pay much more attention to the rabbinical teachings that have been handed down to them for thousands of years than they do to the original scrolls and the original information given to them by Moses. It's like how they have these ridiculous rituals now that, for example, like that horrific ritual that the traditional Jews that I find completely horrifying, where they have thousands and thousands of starving, freezing chickens. It genuinely hurts. It actually hurts my soul to see the footage of it. How they have that ceremony where they have all these chickens, and the rabbis go around and they transfer the sins of the Jews into these chickens, and then they cut their throats and whirl them around their heads. And that somehow, they say, makes the devil chase after the chicken rather than go after the Jews for their sins. And it's just like, that is entirely a rabbinical tradition. It has no foundation in anything, in any of the Mosaic laws, or anything that Moses was told to do, or anything that their sacred scrolls tell them to do. It is 100% added on by uninspired rabbinical teachings. It has nothing to do with their original laws. I feel Christianity was protected by the Roman Empire through Rome, then Byzantine, and lastly Russia in the past 105 years. With the West falling without Christianity being protected. I mean, that's an interpretation as well. Lots of Christian people I see commenting online seem very dogmatic and lost in the source. That's just animal cruelty. Yeah, it's not animal cruelty. And again, these are the same people who had the law where God said to them, you must not boil a kid in its mother's milk. And that saying is basically, don't torture animals. Do not do nasty things to animals. You are supposed to treat animals with respect. Is circumcision a rabbinical tradition or original idea? I mean, that's a whole different topic. It is... A circumcision is in the Mosaic Law. It was supposed to be something that was done to babies at a certain level of like about a week or two after they were born, to distinguish them, to mark them out as true members of the Jewish society. So circumcision is something that Moses was specifically told to do. What was not told to do was, well, various other things that they've added on top of that, and all of the bizarre things they do with it. For example, in the Mosaic Law, there was no method of circumcision specified, and some of the methods that of circumcision that the rabbinical teachings added on to the Mosaic Law are really unhygienic and are known to cause additional fatalities, whereas it's quite interesting how it's actually been scientifically proven that the day that the Mosaic Law stated that babies were supposed to be circumcised is the day that has been medically proven to be the time when the child's immune system is most ready and strong to survive the act of circumcision, which I find very fascinating, because if you think about it, if God told parents to circumcise their babies, why would he tell them to do it at a time when their babies would be more likely to die from it? Whereas the time that is specified directly in the Mosaic Law for circumcision to take place is the time when the baby's immune system is at its absolute strongest. Which makes perfect sense to me if that's an inspired command that was given by God, because if God created mankind, he sure as hell would know how our immune system works. A lot of Christian traditions developed in the 2nd century. They just took the later centuries to be properly defended. These traditions seem the church fathers still emphasize love and piety. I mean, they do. They certainly do to many degrees. I won't lie to you there. Oh, but now we have very much gotten off track, and maybe this would be something that I should do a more serious stream of at some point. That would be fun. Something of people abandoned by their own god for their rebellion. I mean, yeah. More Sweet Baby related stuff. Okay, that's interesting. Public live tagging. So I went doom scrubbing on the Sweet Baby employees' Twitter and found this tweet linking to their website that is barred by a login. That is a huge amount of stuff. Good grief. That is a huge amount of stuff. I'm sure that Kirsche will cover some of this stuff, and I hope she does. I am not going to dive into this right now because this was more off the cuff. I'm not trying to steal Kirsche's thunder in any way. I'm fascinated. I'm certain she has much more stuff than I do to cover on this topic, and I would be happy to help her do so. So I am going to let her talk about this, and if there is stuff that she doesn't cover, I will specifically reach out to her and ask her if she doesn't mind me covering more of this stuff on my own, because again, I don't want to steal stuff from her, because I truly respect the amount of effort and time she puts into things. But I really like talking about this stuff too, because it is fascinating. Stream 2 of asking D&D when? I have absolutely no idea. That's a complicated topic, honestly. Anyway, we're slowly coming up. There's only 20 minutes until Kirsche starts... I said Kirsche instead of Kirsche. I'm a fool. Until Kirsche starts streaming, and there's not really all that much else I wanted to cover. However, there is... also Midori just said... Yeah, that's interesting. I have a lot of stuff that I will talk about on Monday, which I would love to get into. I'm fortunate. A couple of weeks ago, I basically seemed to have nothing to talk about, but now I have tons of stuff to talk about, which is really entertaining to me. And also, Thrang wanted me to show something, which I will see if I can. I'm sorry, Thrang. I'm just jumping back to where it is. Here it is. Oh dear, what is this? Let me open this in my regular tab first. Insane autism. Oh dear. What is this? What is this? Let me just link it in the chat as well in case anybody's curious. Dum. Live stream, here it is. Wait up 50 minutes so you can raid her. Azihara, I cannot raid people. It is impossible for me to raid. I mean, people know that Kirsche is going to stream in like 50 minutes anyway, so... But I do not have the physical capacity on YouTube to raid because I don't have the numbers yet. Proctor is my favorite one of you to groom. I mean, I'm at 61 concurrent viewers right now, which I'm surprised at, considering this is very much an off-the-cuff stream at a time when most of my audience is probably asleep. I don't have my flip audience to draw from, because they seem to be quite common. I don't see any of my glorious flips posting in chat, so they're probably still asleep. But yeah, let me open this with our main thing. Paste and go. So yesterday I saw these. An AI music website has been created and it's spreading across the internet like wildfire. So naturally I decided to try it out and take it to the next obvious step, creating Abominations Against God featuring our one and only Ridicule. Why did you do this? My desktop audio isn't on for a second. Be a moment. What are my levels like? Not bad. What is this? How long is this? Oh, it's a minute long. Okay. Play the songs. All right. All right. Your flip audience is on OnlyFans waiting for... Okay, this is... remember, guys, this is Pippa's trans little sister trying to groom me into attempting to get you all to watch Pippa. So I have to bow to the secret owner of this forum. He has... You don't understand. The amount of dirt and leverage this guy has over me is just astonishing and terrifying. So I have to do what he says. Here we go.
Under the neon lights, all of the nights. Carnivorous connection from the dead of night. I'm the ridicule, a lover of the macabre. Meet Pippa, you're the one I adore. Oh, I sharpen my knives, preparing for romance. With tender cuts, I'll take you to a trance. Love across the butcher shop, with two hearts beating non-stop. I'll slice and dice just for you. I know there's more, but it's true. Under the neon lights, I see you walking down the street, girl, with sparkle in your eye. I've got a ridicule full of roses, and ready to give it a try. I'm gonna serenade you in binary code, send you love letters with GPS coordinates. I'll build you a castle made of circuit boards. Oh, me, Pippa, won't you be mine?
So yeah, I fully expect someone to do one with me and Thrang next, so, This is better than some of the slop coming out from Taylor Swift. Does the audience even know who Ridicule is? Ridicule is a very scary individual. Azihara is correct. I would listen this over most of the slop Billboard throws out. I mean, this is why I mostly listen to anime covers and music recently. Recently, as in like 5 or 10 years, because every single time I hear mainstream music that is older, that is younger than like 15 years ago, there is more scroll down. Why you like this? Why you like this? I've got more Shadow of Ridicule, Obsidian Nights. What is this?
It's the sort of thing a queen's unseen. Ridicule to range my film, deluded dreams. Tormented spirit haunting as the moonlight is high. Stalking his brain with love, twisted
wish they didn't autoplay. How do I make them stop autoplaying?
In the shadows of the moon, he looks unseen. He's blind to rage, tormented by twisted dreams. Rescue the man with the chilling stare, unleashing heaven upon the night. His heart laid bare. Beware, he's coming for you. Reticule sinister love.
I love how it actually gets Reticule's name perfectly right, despite it not being, well, I suppose Reticule isn't in a word.
A haunting melody in the depths of his madness. A twisted symphony.
No joke. These two are actually not bad. These two, why, Thrag, why isn't this bad? Yeah, this is actually not too bad. This isn't bad. Okay, you said refresh the tab. Here we go. The strange pursuit of Meat Pippa. Oh no.
In the world of shadows lurks a man named Reticule. He's got a twisted mind. His intentions are askew. He's deranged and twisted, but he's got a heart set on you. Meek Pippa, why can't you see the love that's true? Yeah, Reticule. He's chasing dreams that can't come true. He's trying to win your heart, but he's lost in his own doom. Meet Pippa, won't you give him a chance or two? He's desperate, he's insane, but his love for you is true.
Is this your prompt? Is this the prompt? Grunge alternatives heavy song about the deranged Jewish man named Reticule attempting to romantically woo Meat Pippa in strange and weird ways. Was that seriously your prompt?
In the depths of darkness, Reticule's heart is torn. He's deranged, just a little bit forlorn. He's got a crush on Meat Pippa, it's true, but his ways of romance are twisted and askew. Reticule's love is strange and weird. He'll chase her down. Much is clear. He sends her flowers made of bones. His love for me, Pippa, it's anything but no.
I'm really disturbed that it's actually pretty damn good. Like, that's not bad. That is genuinely not that bad. Do you have more complete versions of these songs, Thrang? I assume that they're cut off the way they are because of the upload limit I put in place. But send those to me on, if they are more complete versions, like send them to me on, oh, that's a shame. I'd really like to know these. Why does it unironically slap? Yeah, I'm disturbed at how good that is. That's how the songs generate. Oh, that's depressing. I do wonder if I could use that to make some background music for this stream, actually. I wouldn't mind doing that, like using AI to generate some like jingle or whatever to have as background music. I guess AI has 3 chords and the truth. AI has definitely come an awful long way, and I personally can't wait to see where it goes in future because, to be honest, screw the music industry. The music industry is the most predatory and horrifyingly nightmarish dystopian industry I have ever seen in my life. Not me. Why does it? I just can't get over how good that it is. I mean, you can hear, it's funny, it actually gets better as it goes along, because the first ones just legally purchase FL Studio and whip up some stuff. I don't know anything about FL Studio. I know that Denna has done some stuff, and maybe I'll ask her for some pointers or whatever. Azihara, if you're making one of these, do it about doing the Korsha. Listen to the one about Sneed that Null tweeted. Okay, I will. I actually need to take a break for like 2 seconds as well, so that I'll put that on. Where is it? Where's it gone? Here it is, Insane Autism.
Shadows of sleep, oh yeah. So painted with secrets, so it seems. Chuck the level 4, sneak talk to the what went down. Nobody really knows.
Yeah, that one just kind of descends into anarchy after a while. Do the course to the tune of F Her Gently by Tenacious D. This is advanced Sneed posting. What about this one?
It needed a feel of red circle that lit the big round, so filled with rage and anger. He roamed the land till the leprechauns came and stole his gold. Damn! He's filled with rage, tears of anger, his pain won't fade. Leprechauns, they've crossed the line. Round demands his gold. This time it's mine.
Oh no. This is advanced level trolling. I love this. I absolutely love this. You've done something very, very bad, Thrang. Well, you have done many things bad, but where in the Discord do I post this? I mean, you can put it whenever you like, really. Gotta say, this new Nickelback album isn't half bad. Well, I'm kind of running out of steam a little bit here, but what are the replies like? Oh, this is the last thing in the Pippa posting. I need to pin this actually at some point. I need to put this in the banner or whatever. Granth is a good dog who didn't do nothing. Proctor check Discord. Azihara made a song. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh, Denna, what's this? Denna and hamsters. Let me get distracted. Oh, this is 10 minutes long. Okay, I won't watch that right now. Is it in where did he put it? Wall scribblings, VTuber discussion. I'm not sure. Where did he put it, Thrang? I can't find it. Oh, I found it. I found it. That's fine. Are you joking? What? Guys. What the Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah, look at who just joined the server as I'm streaming. I wonder if they're actually watching the stream right this instant. Trying to go back to just chatting. That's quite interesting. I wish to say, just in advance, I have absolutely nothing to do with this. I have absolutely nothing to do with this. I did not invite this person. They have arrived completely on their own. I'm sorry, I'm fiddling with my water bottle again. But yeah, to play us out, I'm just gonna play this. I have no idea how loud this is. I'll just turn off my, let me just make sure I don't blow your ears out. Okay, that's not too bad. I'm always careful with these kind of things because I do not want to deafen people. Just lower that volume a tiny bit, actually.
She's a white buns girl, living in the city. The love for adventure and a taste so gritty. If there's one thing that keeps her heart afloat, it's that hello fresh box of food lovers utopia. With her apron on tight and a melody in her step, she's dancing in the kitchen. Her secret's well kept. From curry to tacos, her taste buds are smiling. Cause she's in her element with flavor so beguiling. What you cooking, curse with fresh ingredients your way. Fox in the kitchen making meals that make me sway. From the stove to the table, she's got the magic touch. Cause you white fox girl addicted to Hello Fresh oh so much.
Probably really loud because I can't seem to find a damn volume thing. Yeah, I didn't see one. That's why I muted it for a bit. But yeah, for some reason, this person has just joined the Discord, which is quite interesting. It's funny how things just happen like this every so often. But now it's literally less than 5 minutes until Kirsha streams, and I am actually a brand new VTuber for Proctor de Groom. Both Twitters are suspended. She must be pretty good. Oh yeah, her Twitter did get suspended. As far as I know, she tweets an awful lot of lolly stuff, so, you know, not entirely my thing. I will say that her model that she had like about 6 months ago did have an extremely desirable amount of floof. I like Koinu. Yeah, I know you do, Azihara. You like all of them that show a bit of flesh. Well, it's been an interesting time, guys. One last thing before I go. I'm very irritated that I've been working on the server again, and I managed to mess something up, and Zen4o is very, very obscure about how it works. It's very difficult for me to troubleshoot things on the new server. I have been trying my best to get it running, and I've had a backup and everything, but I have to get a new backup. And I have to contact Zen4o directly to try and get them to explain to me why a certain thing is working the way it is, because when they give you the instructions for how to import data onto the forum, onto a new server, they explicitly tell you to deactivate the cloud version of the service, which obviously is the forum as it stands. And I was under the assumption that I would be able to keep up the cloud version of the forum while stress testing the new forum, as in on the self-hosted service. However, when I manipulate the settings on the new server so that it has the data from the cloud hosting version onto the new server, then I can't actually use the link because the configuration settings automatically redirect me to the cloud hosting version. And when I change the configuration settings, it 404s and it doesn't connect to the new server properly. And I have to confirm with Zen4o whether that is an issue from the way that I set up the import or it's something that they're doing purposefully, and it's very annoying. It looks like there might be a chance that we have yet another month on the cloud, which is very irritating. Again, I get the strong sense that Zen4o is deliberately making it as hard as possible for me to transfer onto a self-hosted service, just so it can keep taking my money as a cloud hosting. which is bothersome, but I mean, at least it's not too much. Like, it's 128 a month, but I can afford that, which is good. I really don't want to pay it, but again, it's not going to kill me. Less because of the flesh and more because she's a bit crazy and unhinged. Azahara, these are VTubers. They are all crazy and unhinged in some capacity, all right? All right, people, what's Ow My Sanity saying? Your browser will scream at you if you visit, though. You also can't update, which makes it annoying with all the new Lion law. What are people talking about right now? What has Cubano Dumb just posted? Oh, this is interesting. What's that? Open in browser. Let's have a look at this. All right, people, here's what's currently happening. We're going to go ahead with Operation Meat Cube, an effort at bringing 1D4chan back online after newish management, since Root hasn't responded to us for a couple of months. However, we also want to reduce the risk of a single point of failure when it comes to this new site. Sorry, I just realized this is not on my streamer thing. So I will transfer it over one last time. It comes to the new site by getting multiple administrators with the know-how to make the site work, as opposed to one who seems to have vanished into the Shadow Realm for the time being. Therefore, we're putting out a general call for anyone with experience in setting up, hosting, and operating a Wikimedia site who can provide assistance. Our main concern at the moment is getting people who know how to run the railroad, so if you own a server, run a website, with blah, 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 and if you're fine volunteering to help out, please contact Mole Machine or a submoderator to get more information. I did not know that 1D4chan was down, because 1D4chan was somewhere where I frequented many years ago, which I read an awful lot of 1D4chan stories, like Old Man Henderson. Old Man Henderson is an absolute classic. And also, I forget, like the Reasonable Marines from 40k, I think also come from Warhammer 40, from the 1D4chan stuff. So that's interesting. I did not know that 1D4chan went down, which is, a shame, because I would really like to go back there at some point. But we're pretty much out. I'm just waiting for the silly fox to put up her waiting room. I'm just actually need to take a break for 5 seconds, because I am absolutely desperate to do things of a biological nature. So I'm gonna mute myself for like a minute or two. I'll just be a moment, guys. I'm sorry. Oh no, it's dead air. I have returned. I believe the waiting room is now up. Allow me to transfer everybody. Has she not done a ping again? She's not done a ping on her Discord. Of course she hasn't done a ping on her Discord. That's just classic, isn't it? Come on, you silly, you... Nope. Nope, not yet. She's not live yet, according to my Twitch thing. Sorry, I'm just leaning over the back of my chair here. Twitch. Oh, there she is. There she is. For some reason, it didn't update properly. But yes, everybody please go and say hello to the wonderful Foxu over here. And I will see you all later thank you very much for coming to my stream for my TED Talk. We will most definitely talk more about this later on. Please have a nice night, everybody. And once again, Anonymous1, thank you for the $15. I really do appreciate it. Ooh, Twitch. I like Twitch. I quite like Twitch. Well, I like Twitch for the viewer engagement. I really like the highlighted messages and all the redeems and so on. Because again, I am an autism brain. I have autism. Damned Lurker, good stream. Thank you very much. Yep, I'm definitely going to be streaming fairly often now. Well, at least Mondays and Wednesdays. It's quite possible that I will do like semi-guerrilla stuff other times in the week, but I'm enjoying streaming at the moment, which is really good. So good night, everybody. Please have a nice night. I will now end the stream.